Call a repairman. Call for a do-over. Call for some help, because these are the 25 craziest equipment malfunctions in sports. But before we dive off the deep end, be sure to grab onto your flotation device and subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification button so you never miss a vid. 11 out of 10 referees agree that subscribing will regrow hair and that they are a statistical impossibility. To play the game, you need to have the right equipment. But what happens when that equipment goes cuckoo? You get smashed backboards, blown out shoes, slipping swimmers, pulverized poles, and more exploding balls than you could imagine. Put on your safety glasses and grab a buddy, because we're delving deep into the 25 craziest equipment malfunctions in sports. Television cameras are placed as close as possible to the player to let the viewers at home feel right up to the action. But it looks like the action came to the camera for this one. This camera takes an errant foul ball right to the lens, shattering some pretty expensive equipment in the process. If you're going to be that close to the field, you got to be on your toes, even if you're a camera. This Swedish pole vaulter doesn't have much equipment to begin with, and when she goes to vault, her poor pole snaps right in half. Yikes! That's a scary experience for the pole vaulter and the pole. After this equipment malfunction, she got up and set a Swiss outdoor pole vault record with her next jump. Of course, she used a different pole. These baseball players are all wet. Legendary Shea Stadium had its fair share of quirks and peculiarities, and one of them, apparently, was that someone forgot to change the timer on the automatic sprinklers. Let's stay in the water for our next clip and raise the stakes. This one takes place at Wimbledon during a doubles match at the 2019 tournament. Check out the force coming out of some of those sprinklers. It takes a lot of water to keep those courts so green. It's got to be the shoes. Manu Ginobili is one of the faces of the San Antonio Spurs franchise. But here, we're not looking at his face. We're watching as his shoe kind of blows up and his foot comes through it. Manu's a great player, but not the most athletic guy in the world. Maybe he made a hard cut and caught the shoe off guard. Now, this is really using your head. Of all the possible equipment malfunctions in football, a player getting their helmet stuck to their teammate's jersey is not exactly the one we would expect. Maybe it was on purpose as some sort of bizarre team building exercise. We have seen some truly incredible serves in tennis, and this is not exactly one of them. But how many serves literally bring the net down and bring the game to a halt? Just this one. Too bad that's not a good thing. Still, if she can do that again, just go ahead and give her a point for it. We all fondly remember the glory days of the 2018 Lingerie Football League season. The uniforms did not exactly leave much to the imagination, and believe it or not, there were usually a few equipment malfunctions every game. Here, one of the players gets her top pulled down, nearly exposing herself to the cameras. She complains about the unwanted revealing to the ref, but he's a little too modest to be involved with the league, it seems. This isn't really an equipment malfunction so much as it is Andy Roddick just hits the tennis ball so hard that it goes into the freaking earth. See, generally the ball will hit the court and then bounce back up, but not when Roddick goes Super Saiyan on a serve. Watch out, mole people, Andy Roddick is serving. Well, if it isn't Mr. Equipment Malfunction himself, Shaquille O'Neal. The big fella made a name for himself in the basketball world beginning as a high schooler by ripping down rims and shattering backboards with his monstrous dunks. The Shaq attack was a force of nature that will never be topped. You know, actually in Shaq's case, it was probably him breaking the equipment. Now this is more of an equipment malfunction. See, when a basketball just barely bounces off of the front of the rim should not fall off the backboard. That right there is all malfunctioning equipment, baby. No assist needed. This ball gets hit so hard that it busts at the seams. You'd think that a swing powerful enough to explode a baseball would send it flying into the stands. But nope, this ball busting at bat hits into a routine grounder and right smack dab into the middle of our malfunctioning clip roundup. Here's another ball that gets busted, this time by one heck of a kick. Ouch. Don't let that guy's foot get anywhere close to any more balls. He literally kicked the stuffing out of it. Did you hear the one about the hockey player with one skate? Well, here he is. Andrew Shaw loses a blade on a turn and tries to head to the bench. He gives it the old college try, but it proves to be a little too hard walk/skating, so he opts to speed crawl instead. The next Winter Olympics are now considering adding ice speed crawling to the games. World-class athletes show up to world championships, so you would think there would be the world-class equipment there for them to use as well. Here, at the 2019 World Swimming Championships, the foot wedge holding up Simone Sabiani in lane 6 slips on the start. He doesn't even swim in the race because of the mess-up. He's allowed to go at it alone and be timed, but the same wedge malfunctions again. This tennis player's shoes are not up to the job. Seriously, they have one job: keep the feet inside of them. And they can't even do that without blowing up. How are all of these shoes exploding during games, especially during tennis? It's right there in the name, tennis shoe. The Alamo Dome in San Antonio was a bit of a wonky place to play basketball. First of all, it was actually a football stadium. And second of all, sometimes it would shoot a water cannon out onto the fans. This was just in case people were getting too excited, which in the early days of the Spurs wasn't too often. Sticking with basketball arena malfunctions, this is the night the lights went out in Minnesota. During a Timberwolves game, the owner's penny pinching came back to bite him as it appeared he forgot to pay his electricity bill and the lights got shut off. Fortunately, the lights came back on soon after and the game didn't have to get played in the dark. This might be a case of the equipment working a little too well. A glove is supposed to catch the ball, right? This one catches the ball and makes sure it doesn't go anywhere. When the ball gets stuck in this player's glove, he has no choice but to throw the glove with the ball in it to try and make the out. Blake Griffin tries to do his best Shaq attack impression by dunking during the LA Clippers warm-ups. But instead of breaking the backboard, the Kaya-hopping bad boy ends up knocking the shot clock out of whack. Look, we've all had fantasies about running our worst enemy over with a Zamboni, but we can't just go and do it. This seemingly psycho Zamboni driver makes a gory and gruesome scene on the ice as he appears to smear bloody goop all over the rink. Fortunately for everyone, it turned out to just be leaking radiator fluid. Or was it? There are so many cameras covering college football now that they are literally falling from the sky. The Skycam, which is secured above the field by thin wires, ran into some trouble and went kaput, taking a tumble down onto the grass. Fortunately, no players were directly underneath. That would have been one extremely unwanted extreme close-up. We don't know all the ins and outs of cricket, but we do know that the ball is not supposed to break the bat right in half. The batter is shocked at the outcome, as is the pitcher. That's 12 points and a crumpet for the gents, or something. And the batter definitely yelled, "That was a wicked googly." Tennis player Andy Murray didn't even seem to notice that he had an equipment malfunction during his tennis match. It wasn't until afterwards that he was told he had a broken string on his racket. He played pretty good with it. Maybe he should just use broken strings from now on. WWE superstars are tremendous athletes that perform death-defying maneuvers in front of millions of fans and have to be ready to improvise at a moment's notice. But it didn't work out so well for him here as he tries to grab onto the rope and he's a tad too heavy for it. Make sure you don't get yourself caught in any pinning predicaments by liking this video. And remember to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and kick out before the 3 count. Thanks for watching.